Something went wrong. All right, we're having some YouTube. Hold on. Might have to start this over. We have no comments. We have no comments whatsoever. Let me see. It might be a getaway. I could fix this. Hold on. All right. In order to read the comments, all right, hold on. All right. Basically, what's happening is that the comments window on my feed is not working. So in order to see any of the comments, what I had to do is open up my own live stream in a different browser and go. I have that on my second monitor, and I have the comments there. Hopefully, oh shit. Hopefully that works for now. That's weird. I don't know what's going on. YouTube always has some. What's up, everybody? I'll let a few people join while I try to see what the problem is with this. What's up, everybody? Let me just, I'm trying to figure out why my comment feed is not coming up. I'm just going to have to, I don't know. I'm going to have to just read my comments on my second monitor. Kind of annoying. Got to be moving my head back and forth. I already have a headache. I should really take some Tylenol or something. I got a headache. Yeah, so just what I want to talk about today is, as you probably know, Um, the Hemp Heads server got deleted. That was another. That was another Discord server separate from the ones that I run. What is this? What am I? Oh, okay. That makes sense. All right. Seeing everything in reverse. Alex said, I just had to force myself to puke. I'm sorry to hear that, Alex. I hope you feel better. But so the Hemp Head server was another Discord server that was started when the last Hemp Flower server got deleted by Discord. And if you don't know, the original Hemp Flower server, which the head moderator was actually Timmy. And Timmy was the original moderator from the Hemp Flower subreddit on Reddit, which is, the original. Let me turn this fan off. That was the original Hemp Flower online community that goes all the way back to 2018. Okay, I was one of the original members. I joined that community when there was like 700 members, I believe. And I worked closely with Timmy, and he took it really seriously. He really, me and him really did a lot to try and grow that community. He was doing giveaways. We had sticker packs that we were giving away. I designed a t-shirt, and we were doing all this. It was a really nice, tight-knit community. And while it was at that height, this is back in, 2020, the subreddit went from, the Hemp Flower subreddit went from like less than 1,000 to like 10,000 people, like really fast, like from 2019 to 2020. And it just kept going up. It went up, and then it went up to 15,000, then it went to 20,000, and then, so on and so forth. At the height of that, though, before all the drama and trolls and THCA and all that, Timmy was ahead. Anyways, long story short, he wanted to find a place that Reddit, because Reddit rules are really strict. And so even back then, they were constantly deleting stuff. If people said, oh yeah, this company is having a sale, or this company has this coupon code, Reddit would delete it, and they would, ban accounts and do all this stuff. And so Timmy was looking for a place. He's like, where can we also discuss hemp flower, but a little bit more freely, without the overlords of Reddit kind of coming down. And so I said, there's Discord. There's Discord. That seems to be a much more free thing that a lot of people use. And it seemed really free back then, because I don't know, this was during COVID, or was it during COVID? Yeah, this was during COVID. And y'all may or may not remember, but on Discord back then, there was like all types of like pornography type stuff and like OnlyFans leaks. This is when OnlyFans first started popping off, and people were hacking OnlyFans and making entire Discord servers to leak certain like influencer chick stuff. And Discord seemed like kind of like a wild place back then. I think it was, because of COVID. I think there was a lot of people using it. There was a ton of servers being made. And I just think Discord couldn't keep up. And so Discord was just a wild place. And so I thought, I knew there was other hemp Discord servers around, or I knew there was other cannabis Discord servers, like for like regular weed and stuff. And so I'm like, there shouldn't be a problem with making a hemp Discord. So he's like, do it. He's like, I don't know about that shit. Timmy was like 50 years old, so he's, not really knowing about all that. Anyway, so I made the Discord server. That Discord server got up to multiple thousands of members, and that got deleted. What's up? What's up, JR? Good to see you, man. That original server got deleted, 2024, I believe. Y'all remember that was the original hemp server. That's where everybody was at. There was like 3,000 or 4,000 members when it got deleted. Crazy. Anyways, so it sucks, and it was an industrial hemp server, and so I made another one. That one lasted for 1 year. That second server, it was called Industrial Hemp. That Industrial Hemp Discord server lasted for 1 year, and it got deleted a couple months ago. Like literally, like 2 months ago, that got deleted. It had only got back up to like 700 members. It wasn't anything like the glory days of the original server or the original days of Reddit or anything. But still, it sucked because that's a whole year. People had gotten comfortable. We had all the channels going. There was a lot of information back on there again. Servers or vendors, were active on there. It had its problems. All these servers had its problems. And all of this stuff is really making me realize that and look at that. I got to stay hydrated. What's up, Cerebus? Anyways, like 2 months ago, that second hemp flower server, because that was just a continuation of the first one. All right. There's never been a Shabazz Discord server. I might have ran them, been in charge of it and everything, but it's not a Shabazz centric thing. It's not a server for me and my channel. It's a server for the hemp community. And so when the first server got deleted, I was like, no, we're not going to give up. I made a second one. And when I made that second one, I actually made several backups. Anyways, second one got deleted. I made the third one. No, when the second one got deleted 2 months ago, there was a separate server that was made, and it was called Hemp Heads. I made a third server, and that server is still active right now. Who knows for how long, but it's just called Hemp. It's just called the Hemp server, and that is the third iteration and successor to these official hemp flowers servers. This is like the official hemp community. But anyways, there was this other server called Hemp Heads that got made. And it was basically, they were going for a different vibe, all right? Because the hemp flower server was always created to kind of defy the rules, all right? The reason why Timmy, the original moderator of the Hemp Flower subreddit, the reason he wanted this Discord server was to talk about things and do things that weren't allowed or were frowned upon on Reddit. All right. So it always had sort of a rebellious nature. All right. It was always kind of wild. It was always people on there were very outspoken. It got to the point people started talking about shrooms and all types of stuff. Anyways, so this Hemp Head server was created to kind of be more of a I want to say a conservative, not politically, but conservative vibe. You know, it wasn't like they didn't allow anything vulgar over there. It was very heavily policed and very heavily modded. And there was nothing bad about it. They just wanted to have a much more like everything safe for work, like not a lot of joking around, just quarantine. He said a PG server. Yeah, cannabis isn't like hemp isn't necessarily a family friendly thing, but the goal was they wanted to make like a family friendly server, I guess. You know, like they wanted to make this happy go lucky place, you know, with rainbows and unicorns where like everything was perfect. And they like, yeah, a very exactly. It was a very politically correct server, and they really frowned upon criticizing vendors, which, you know, I personally had a problem with, but I get it. Um, anyways, the point being, they were doing everything right. They didn't allow links, they didn't allow promotions, sales, they didn't allow THCA, they didn't allow coupon codes, they didn't allow like they really didn't even allow like they looked down on cursing or any sort of inappropriate jokes. Um I made a joke about how like about women cheating, and somebody went off and said it was misogyny. It was very they were trying to be conservative and family friendly, but it's also an extremely liberal place, which when you go too far liberal, you end up going back to, you know, authoritarian, you know, when something is so liberal that people can't say anything, it just goes back, you know, to the other side of the spectrum again. Point being, it was a happy place. All right. It was like the San Francisco of Discord. All right. I guess sometime last night, Discord deleted it. And while I didn't agree with everything that was going on there, any time that anything like this, whether it be the subreddit, because subreddits have gotten deleted, a Discord server, an Instagram account, anytime any of this gets deleted, there's valuable information that people took their time to contribute, and conversations and photos, a lot, a lot of progress and work um, that gets deleted, and that's never a good thing. That's always going to be a net negative for the cannabis community and for the hemp community. And it's kind of wild, right? Because we deal with hemp, which is industrial hemp. It's federally legal, doesn't get you high. And these servers keep getting deleted and banned by Discord. But I'm in like THCA servers and like straight up like D9 recreational servers. And it's like 10,000 people just talking about regular weed, where they bought this regular weed. Oh, yeah. You know, this website has this, or this dispensary has this. And these servers are untouched. They're untouched by Discord. So the only thing Hemp Heads was, it sucks that it was gone, but it was like, I don't want to say it was a necessary sacrifice, but it was an experiment that kind of proved that you can follow the Discord guidelines to the T and they will still take you down. And so I think that because that somebody at Discord, um, I don't know, there's something about hemp or CBD somebody really doesn't like. They really don't like it, because even if people are reporting it, which is a big problem, all right, which I don't want to get too much into that, but I had created a Reddit post yesterday because I just got so tired of like people talking about reporting shit and disliking things and downvoting on Reddit, and it's just I hate using this word because it's such a trendy word for young people now, but toxic. I hate that toxic, but anyway, in all sense of the meaning of that word, there's so much toxicity and people reporting stuff, and like it's sabotaging ourselves. And I got tired of that. And I wrote this big old post on Reddit yesterday about trying to recruit the community to stop doing these things, stop being so toxic, stop reporting each other, stop being against each other. Any vendors that are reading this, stop fighting each other. A lot of y'all don't see because you're not in like the inner circle of the industry, and you probably don't talk to the all of the vendors and farmers and breeders personally or on the phone and everything. Most of y'all are consumers, but there's a lot of infighting amongst the different breeders, like the big breeders and the big growers. There's a lot of infighting, and I've been trying to stop that and get people to, you don't got to be friends, but you could be cool with each other. Because as long as you're against each other, you're missing out on money. There's new genetics that could be bred. There's like quite literally, there are genetics that would exist right now that would be super fire that don't exist because growers and breeders and stuff don't like each other for the dumbest little reasons. Oh, he claimed this, and no, this person really bred this, and no, I named this, and it's just really petty. Oh, person doesn't have this license, or they're selling this for that, and it's just all, it's all ridiculous. And I've been trying to get hold on, somebody's ringing my Blink doorbell. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. There's a microphone. You just have to press the button so it'll work. Oh, yeah. Pick up. All right, y'all, I'm back. Anyways, yeah, there's just a lot of cockiness and egos, and he said I don't even. Anyways, the point is there's way too much toxicity. I made this post on Reddit yesterday, and that got consumed by a wall of shit talking and negativity, so I deleted that. And I was just talking about Discord deleting stuff and Instagram deleting accounts, because as y'all might know, I'm on my second Instagram account. My main Instagram account that had several thousand followers got deleted, and now I'm on my backup trying to build that up again. Which, go follow me on Instagram, y'all. It's at 110 canatographer_. We in the cannabis world, we have so much against us. We have legislation, we have police, judges, the probation system. There's just so much against cannabis. The last thing that we as consumers or that people involved in the industry need is some kind of hate, saltiness, and toxicity from within the community. It doesn't make sense. It's like we're poisoning our own food. That's kind of how I think of it, right? Just imagine we're all a village, right? We're all a village. We all have to eat off of the food that we grow. But because of the stupidest, most petty reasons, we go and like poison each other's crops. And then we gotta like eat these poison vegetables, and we all get sick, and then the whole village dies off. That's what's going on. And it really sucks. It really sucks, because not only Like, do we have to survive as this village? But then we have like, some other, you know, ridiculous, powerful force that we're always having to contend with, which is the law and social media and everything. So the hemp Discord server, who knows how long that's going to be up. I honestly feel like Discord is sending a message loud and clear. And I'll tell you all this, the same thing I posted on Discord earlier today. I challenge everybody, if you care, email Discord support, tweet them on Twitter, DM them on Twitter, send a support ticket on their website. Wherever you can contact Discord and ask them for clarification on hemp and why is it that they keep deleting these hemp servers that not only are following all the Discord guidelines, but the servers are centered around something that is completely legal. It's industrial hemp. It doesn't get you high. It's 50 state legal. You could send it in the mail. It might as well be tea. Okay. And if enough people hit them up, they got to respond. Because I've hit them up before. They didn't respond to me. I've sent appeals. I've emailed them. I've messaged them. They don't respond. So I think if enough people at one time flood them with messages, they got to respond to somebody. But until we get some kind of clarification or whatever, I just think Discord is not hemp friendly. They might be cannabis friendly to some extent, but they're not hemp friendly. They're not hemp friendly at all. Because like I said, the Hemp Heads server was like the most square ass server that you could have. It was the most square place. It was like super ultra, like you can't talk bad about anything or anybody. Somebody could shit on your face and you can't say nothing bad about them. It was the most square, like not negative, overly positive place, and Discord still deleted them. Like I said, they didn't allow THCA. They didn't allow sales. They didn't allow coupons, links. They didn't allow nothing that could be a violation of Discord community guidelines. Still got they got it. And like I said, I'll be the first person to say I didn't agree with everything the way they ran things. But they weren't doing anything wrong. They weren't doing anything wrong. That's the thing. They weren't violating Discord's guidelines or anything. So if Hemp Heads got deleted, then there's no hope. There's no hope unless Discord gets a new like CEO or something, and they kind of change. B White said here for Shabazza's funky version of history. I don't know what other version there is. There's no other version. There's no other version of anything I've said. I'm being completely candid and honest. So, I don't know what that's about, but that's what I mean. It's kind of comments like that and stuff like that is just why, there's so much sarcasm and snarkiness and even from my followers and my supporters. I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it, Okay, well, Be White, that's not true. You definitely did censor people's comments, and there's a reason why. You had a valid reason why you censored people's comments. You're trying to keep your chat within a certain parameter, but don't say you didn't, because you did. I witnessed comments being deleted before while I was on there. Like you did. there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, Hemp Heads was trying to run a tight ship. They were trying to keep everything very like what Sariba say, politically correct and positive and all that. And anyways, my point being, they still got taken down. So I honestly, Be White, I'm glad you're here and I'm glad you participate. I'm not saying you're trying to steal my life. I'm not trying. I'm not trying to. I wasn't insinuating you were trying to steal my lifetime. I don't even know what that means. I'm here on live to talk about this situation. Be White, if anybody's reading the comments, Be White was a moderator of the Hemp Head server. So that's why he's chiming in, because obviously he like firsthand knows. But anyways, like I was saying, even people that like are people I really get along with and are close with and talk to a lot and everything. I think that everybody is way too toxic. Okay. There's way too much of this like vendor elitism and vendor exclusion and kind of echo chamberiness. And it's got to stop. It's really got to stop, because at the end of the day, there's no real reason for it. And if individual people want to have their individual beefs and they just refuse to give that up, then there's nothing that anybody else can do about that. But everybody else as a whole can do better to be more positive, to be more inclusive to everybody. And I'm not talking about like Love Tea. I'm not talking about, you got to be like some super liberal, dye your hair purple and, go donate to, anyways. But everybody needs to be more like in the sense of hemp, right? No matter who it is, person A could have a completely different lifestyle than person B, but they both are hemp enthusiasts. Then that's enough. Just keep it at that and keep it cool right there. And I'll just say this, right? On Discord or anywhere else, it really needs to stop. It really, really needs to stop. Just everything. And even me myself, I've had to kind of like take a step back and been like, damn, I've kind of fanned the fire on some of that, right? Like, let me give you an example, like Flow Gardens. Okay. Flow Gardens has always been a really controversial company, and especially recently, they've been the most controversial company in hemp. And Flow Gardens hasn't ever they've never scammed anybody. They've never done anything super egregious, right? I've disagreed with a lot of their business practices. I disagree with the way they price their products. And I honestly, I do. I think the Flow Gardens price gouges the community, and they don't even do it in a respectful way. Flow Gardens and the people that speak for them publicly are very much like, fuck you. If you're not going to buy it, somebody else will. But that's a legitimate criticism. But I don't want people taking that and be like, oh, Shabazz has an issue with Flow Gardens pricing, and then go and be like, oh, fuck Flow Gardens. Flow Gardens is trash. Oh, don't buy Flow Gardens. Their shit's trash. And this is just one example, okay? People take things and blow it up into ridiculousness. And like I said, I've had to take a step back, and I need to watch how I word things, because I know that there's a lot of people that watch my content or read what I have to say and take that to heart. And I've seen that kind of transcends beyond what I say, and it's kind of cultivated an attitude among certain people to just be like that in general, right? And some of y'all are gonna know what I talk about when I say this, but um, a vendor that I could think of would be Beliefer. Now, just objectively, right? Objectively, Beliefer has some of the best flower on the market. Believer's up there in like that top three. Most companies are not touching the quality and variety that Believer has. But there's a whole group of people that dislike Believer. And I don't even think they dislike his product. They dislike the person behind the company. Like they dislike the guy who owns Believer, Tyler, over a misunderstanding that happened years ago. And like these people now make it a joke. And like I said, if y'all know who I'm talking to and I'm talking to you directly, it shouldn't always be a joke, because I just like take a moment and let's be adults. Did Believer really do anything seriously wrong to anybody? Knowing the type of person that Believer is and everything, do we really think he has some sort of ill intent towards anybody? Because I don't think he did. And so is it necessary years later to like just make all these jokes and be petty and immature about things? It's not. And I could honestly keep listing more and more. And like there's certain companies, right? Like Black Tie, Arete, uh there's I don't even there's a few Robin Hood extracts. There's a few companies I don't even remember their names. Um they have done like really egregious stuff, but they're so bad that nobody even talks about them. And it's the kind of thing where if anybody, a new person comes to the community, they're like, oh hey, I was looking at products from this vendor, and it's a kind of thing where enough people automatically be like, no, that vendor's blacklisted, we don't fuck with them. And it's like, okay, all right, that's kind of an accepted thing. These vendors did people wrong, but there's other vendors that or products that get undue hate and criticism. And I think that's got to stop, right? Because there's only like a handful of people that are even putting out type 3 flower. And if we want them to continue putting out type 3 flower, as long as these people aren't doing wrong and stealing or scamming or selling an unsafe product or something like that, it's not going to do us any good if they go out of business. Because that's one more. Like 75% at least of hemp companies have gone out of business or switched to THCA. We can't afford to lose anymore. We really can't. And look, this is another thing, right? So here's a good example. This is a perfect example that like is happening live. JK Distro. Multiple people in the comments right now when I mention like bad companies, a couple people put in JK Distro. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that JK Distro does. I don't agree with the way that they have people on YouTube like full time make videos on their product for years and, kind of be like dishonestly positive about certain things or whatever. I mean, some of it might be good, but I think that we can approach that situation. JK Distro, I mean, some people buy it, some people like it. I see a lot of negative about their flower, but I also see people praising it. Um, do they pay certain other people on YouTube to make commercials about their stuff? Yeah. But it's just what I'm trying to say is you could dislike JK Distro, but like the owner of JK Distro, he might be cool as fuck. You never know. And I'm not saying that because I know him, I don't. But he could be a cool guy and he's just trying to feed his family. And the best way he can make sales is by getting people on YouTube to promote his stuff every day of the week. Um, you never know what you never know what people, and and the thing is too about JK Distro. I used to, and this is what I mean. I had to take some time and kind of step back myself. I used to shit on JK Distro a lot. I really did, and just because, look, check this out, right? A lot of people accuse me of being a shill, especially on Reddit. I don't know where this came from, but on Reddit, people really think I'm a shill. I don't know where that came from. I have been so anti-shill, I've like kind of become an extremist to the other side, where I've trashed and shit talked companies who I think use shills to support their stuff. And I don't mean like they're going and pretending to be, like a company having their fucking secretary go on Reddit and be like, pretend you're a customer and write these good reviews. But like a company hitting this person up, me like, look, I'm gonna pay you $500. I need you to make a video and just tell people this shit's fire. That's not me. I can't do that, and I don't think that's right. And I think that just anyways, the point is, I've really been against that. And I've been so much against it that I've gone out of my way to try and prove so much that I'm not a shill, that I trash companies that I think kind of support some of these other like YouTubers or reviewers or whatever it is. But it went too far. And JK Distro is a black owned business, all right? And some of y'all may or may not care. Some of y'all may not like it, but in the United States, cannabis has always been a thing that was the user base heavily involving black people, right? Like the black community, the black part of the US population, cannabis use is like an everyday thing. All right, it's at this point it's part of the culture. But when it came to cannabis business legally, like now that these states are legalizing medical and recreational marijuana and all this, and in the hemp world, black people are extremely underrepresented. They still buy a lot. They still buy it. Like per capita, black people probably buy more weed than anybody else. But when it comes to the business side of it, they make up a tiny, tiny fraction of it. And I think JK Distro could change the way they do things. And if JK Distro ever wanted to talk to me and get my opinion on things, I would love to chat. But that's a black owned business, and he's trying to carve out, his little scoop his little tiny piece of the pie in this world that's really dominated by people that I don't want to say it shouldn't be, but and I don't want to make this um I, I don't know. A lot of black people, minorities, have gone to prison for selling weed. And now that it's legal to do and everything in so many of these places, I think that I think that minorities and black people should kind of have an easier path to entry to be able to get into this business and legally do it. And so, if any of y'all are like care about social issues and all of that, then that's a whole thing. And JK Distro is one of I could sit and think, and off the top of my head, I don't know any other black hemp company owners or farmers. I don't. They're all white with a few Hispanic people. So, you know, CB Jesus said, "Just be a shill and make some money." I try to monetize. I try to monetize my content and my brand and everything as much as I can while maintaining honesty. All right, that's my thing. If I have a chance to monetize what I do and can get a kickback from it some way and still be honest, then I'll do it. But it's really hard because a lot of people, if they're offering you money, they're expecting you to have some kind of bias, right? And again, I just can't do that. That's not me. I never have and I never will. You see some folks here in the hemp community that are supported by a certain company or are paid for in some kind of way. They benefit financially from a company, and you see these people fighting for that company tooth and nail, acting like it's their own child, acting like it's their company. That is a heavy extreme bias, and I'm not for that. As y'all may know, I know a lot of people in the hemp world personally. I talk to them. I go and meet up with them. I get on flights and go hang out with people. I see their grow operations. I visit farms, do vlogs, all that. But y'all will never see me like refuse to be critical of a legitimate thing. Like, for example, let's say Lost Oak Farms. All right. Y'all know I've flown out to Oregon several times, checked out Lost Oak Farms crops. We have a good time, even off camera. We go and after a day of filming, we go sit down and eat some pizza or sushi and have a beer and talk about cannabis, and it's a great time. All right. But if Lost Oak Farms ever started doing something that I didn't agree with or was price gouging or something, I'm not gonna pretend like they're not doing that. That's not, at the end of the day, I'm just a really honest person. All right. And sometimes in my personal life, I think that honesty has gotten in the way of friendships and stuff. Because there's a time and a place for everything. Sometimes people, including me, gotta learn when to shut their mouths, right? Like, I always have good intentions behind everything I do. My intentions are always good. If I talk about something in my head, it's like I could talk down on a company, and my goal, that company is going to make money. My goal is not to trash that company and put them down. It's to protect the consumer. And in my head, that's all I see is like I'm doing a good thing. Everybody who's spending their hard-earned money, they need to know this information. But I need to, sometimes I have to stop and think about um how other people see things, right? And a time and a place to say things. And I think everybody needs to do that, right? And this all circles back to just the toxicity and staying positive and really trying to keep the few hemp vendors and farmers that are in the business. All right. Because it doesn't do us any good if these people go out of business. Right. All right. Let's look at some comments. All right. CB Jesus said, make some UGC content for them for the money and don't upload that to your socials or put a disclaimer that you were paid. Legally, you have to disclose if it's paid, but no one does it. UGC. What do you mean by you're gonna have to explain what UGC is? I think what you're talking about is like if a company says, "Hey, Shabazz, we're releasing a new content. Can you make a video for us to put on our website?" But it won't be a video that's presented to your audience as like an honest thing. Sure, I would do that, right? I kind of have like a recognizable face and brand, and if a company was like, "Hey, make a," we're whatever whatever the case may be, we have this new tincture that we want to put, um make a 1 minute video, and we'll pay you $100 and we're going to post this on our website and email and everything, right? um sure, I would do that, right? Because it's not being presented as my honest opinion. My big thing is I don't ever want to present an opinion to anybody that's not true. Like, y'all get what I'm saying? Y'all get what I'm saying? Like, I don't ever want somebody to see me say something and think, oh, that's his own honest opinion based on his experience in the cannabis world, when in reality it's because somebody paid me to say it. Like that's why I'm so I don't know who none your business is. Um, that's unfortunate that you're kind of on here talking shit. That's kind of exactly what I'm want to avoid. Um, let me see. TJ said, "Did you see my comment?" Let me see which comment. Let me go back up. What's up to everybody who's on here, by the way? I see y'all in the comments saying hi or whatever. What's up? TJ, I'm not sure exactly which comment you're referring to. You're gonna have to you're gonna have to you're gonna have to refresh. Um I haven't tried the Milky Way CBG from Beliefer. I haven't. Um, Gilchrist said, "I never understood why they basically disregarded the CBD users to jump on the THCA bandwagon." The answer to that is very simple, and it's money. It's simply money. A lot of companies were struggling to pay their bills with CBD. And I will say this, right? A lot of the companies that switched, not all, because some of it don't make sense. Like a lot of companies where, for example, Five Leaf Wellness. Five Leaf Wellness has some of the best CBD flower in the game, and they switched to THCA. I don't know why, because I know they were making lots of money with the CBD, but there were other companies that were having quality control issues or were not putting out consistent fire. And I know that they were struggling making money. And by switching to THCA, it's regular weed. If anybody's watching and you hear THCA, like I say in all my videos, I say this all the time. THCA flower is just regular weed. Okay, it's just regular weed. They just call it THCA to somehow like not get in trouble legally. But it sells itself. And so these companies that were gonna like go bankrupt or weren't making any sort of a profit or anything, they can suddenly switch to THCA and now they're back. The numbers are back good. So that's the reason why. And the companies that haven't switched to THCA yet, it's either because they're passionate about CBD or they're making enough money selling CBD. But it's simple. It's the answer. The reason why so many companies switch to THCA is just because of money. And again, I'm critical of that. I'm sure most people are critical of that, right? It's kind of a stab in the back. It's kind of like a fuck you to all of us CBD users. But people have to feed their families. They got to put food on the table. They have to pay their loans back. Most of these hemp farms and everything are on like massive business loans. They have to pay these loans back. And just think about if it was you, are you going to go into massive debt and have the bank foreclose on your house and repo all your shit to appease the very small CBD crowd? Or are you going to go and switch to this other thing, which can really easily get you out of the negative that you're in? When you're in that situation and it's you, that decision is not difficult. Wade said, "I love your new set. If you were not brutally honest, I wouldn't be growing the best flower. Keep your honesty, regardless of the pain it causes the company. It's a wake up call we all need to get." I appreciate that, Wade. Some people do not take criticism as well as others, though. All right, some people really take things personally. I'm always going to remain honest. I'm going to try to maybe scale back the brutality of my honesty, though. And I think everybody should. When the Discord gets to 10,000 or more people, the moderators have said has to literally moderate thousands of people, no matter if they're critical or not. Friend. When people get to Discord and start being, yeah, TJ. Yeah, Alex said, honestly, bro, I appreciate your honesty. Don't stop. You've helped me get back into CBD and help my anxiety. You don't know how influential you are to people that need that. I know that there's a lot of people who kind of resonate with me, right? And kind of have the same story and go through the same thing. Like there's a lot of people that comment on my videos or DM me or whatever and say like, Shabazz, I was the same as you. I used to be big into weed. And then one day it just, I felt like I was having a heart attack and I found your channel and, now I can enjoy cannabis again and all that. And at the end of the day, that's who I'm doing this for. My whole goal is to, help THC sensitive people find good quality CBD flower. Yeah, the Discord thing, like I said, the hemp Discord is still up. Let me actually update the link. And I didn't come on here to promote the hemp Discord, right? I think everybody needs to kind of be in like a state of mourning for 24 hours because Discord deleted yet another hemp server. And I'm not sure if we should be supporting Discord, really giving them any sort of traffic or money with anything. So that's kind of a conundrum. I'm gonna update the invite link. But right now, honestly, how I'm feeling and how a lot of people should be feeling is, fuck Discord. You know what I mean? Like, the way that they really seem to have something strong against hemp is crazy, is trifling, is scandalous. I see people talking about TeamSpeak and Signal, Telegram, all that. This is a problem. This is the problem, right? We can make a TeamSpeak server, we can make a Signal group, we can make a Telegram group. We could go on all of these Discord alternatives that are, might be more friendly than Discord. The issue is that all of those things are not as accessible. Those things are like, nothing is accessible to the internet like Discord, Instagram, and Reddit. And so we could do TeamSpeak and Signal and everything, but you're going to get a fraction of the users. And that's why I've never given up on Discord and just went to that. It might be time to do that, though, right? It might be time to, we might not be able to have these big, large communities with like hundreds or thousands of members. It just might not be possible with the way social media is right now. And I think we need to accept that. It just might not be, it might not be possible. It might not be possible. We might, migrate small communities to these other more free speech friendly platforms, but it's just going to be a small group of kind of the most hardcore people that want to be in there, which is fine and it's cool to have, but it's, it's just the issue. A lot of people already have Discord on their phone or on their computer, and if they don't, it's a simple app you can download. And most people have a Discord account, and if you don't, it's so easy to sign up. Anything else is there's a whole other barrier to getting on it, registering for a new thing. It's something, a lot of people are really paranoid about giving their information out, and so it's just that's the barrier to using other platforms. One thing though, I mean, honestly, if anybody can take anything away from anything, is just, I think that everybody needs to be more friendly and supportive of one another. Because type 3 flower is becoming a really, really like niche thing. And it's down to a handful of companies and breeders putting out product for a couple thousand people. And if everybody can be nice to each other and we can all support each other, and we can get these breeders and these growers and farmers and everything to work together, we could continue our own little thing. We could keep getting these, good quality small drops, and we can have these farms, growing, this good quality, really affordable flower every year, and keep having it. But if not, it's not going to keep happening, because CBD flower, there's not enough people buying it to sustain the business in the current state. There's just not enough people. Before, when hemp first became legal, there were so many reasons why so many people put so much money into it. There was so much capital invested and loans given because it was this new frontier. People thought they were going to make so much money. Finally, we can grow cannabis openly and sell it. It's a gold mine. When the Farm Bill passed, you had so many people that literally thought it was going to rain gold. Okay. They thought they were going to be shitting gold. And there was a lot of money to be, at first, there was money to be made. For one, it was this huge novelty. A lot of people were buying hemp flower just because they could. Just because of the sake of like, damn, I could go online, order some shit, and it's going to be at my house in 3 or 4 days. I don't need, they just do it because, and then it became a thing where there was a high demand for hemp flower because people were distilling it into D8 and HHC and all of these other things, right? And so there was a demand for large amounts of hemp flower for that. That went away. And then the final nail in the coffin was THCA. And each of those things took a huge chunk of the people away that would buy CBD. And so now we're just truly left to people who are THC sensitive and buy CBD flower because they can't smoke regular weed. And that's we're a tiny percent of, people that smoke weed are a small part of the population. That's not a really small part, but cannabis users are already a subculture of the population. THC sensitive people is not a small part of that, but most THC sensitive people don't know that CBD flower exists. So out of the cannabis users, and then the people that are THC sensitive, and then the people that know the CBD flower exists, you're talking of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. Literally a few thousand people. So just there's not much money to go around. There's not much money to go around. Sariba said, I wonder if we could get numbers on sales from these companies. I honestly don't think many companies would put out their numbers. I think we could see, though. I think we could see who's making money and who's not. AB87 said, I've transitioned to full THC from CBD. A lot of people have. A lot of people use CBD flower to take a break from THC, like kind of like a extended tolerance break, and they smoke CBD flower for a year or two. And now that THCA is so accessible, they just switch back to that. Yeah, Cerebus. I would like to know that those numbers, how many people are ordering CBD per day. That's a huge undertaking, though. That would require asking, it's. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but that would require a lot of people to play along to submit those types of numbers, and that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. It's we're not ever going to get that type of we're not going to get that type of information. Joshua said, I'd be surprised if more than 6 companies are turning a profit in CBD alone. It's it there's more than 6. There's more than 6. You have, just look at, you have some companies that survive purely off customer loyalty. Meaning like they're not making money because they have such good product. They're making money because they have so many people that have been buying from them from the beginning that just don't buy from nobody else. I think the perfect example of that is Tweedle Farms. I know that Tweedle Farms makes a lot of money. They make a lot of sales because they pay a lot of money for for SEO. They pay a ton of money for SEO, and they can afford to pay all that money for SEO because they get a lot of sales. Hold on a second. Um, you have the outdoor farms though, right? You have Lost Oak Farm. I don't think Lost Oak Farms is getting rich, but Lost Oak Farms profits and has a sustainable business. Horn Creek Farms, again, Horn Creek Farms, they sell a lot of flour just on customer loyalty. Also, Horn Creek Farms really comes across as extremely wholesome. And a lot of people buy just based on that. Like there's a lot of people that are not buying from Horn Creek because they think Horn Creek has the most top shelf flour in the world or any other company. They're not looking for the most top shelf stuff. They're looking for this like family owned, integrity type of experience. And Horn Creek gives that. Horn Creek is really wholesome, and Horn Creek um, have really good prices, and so Horn Creek makes good money. Um, who else is there? Farm wise, you have operations like Fern Valley and Rogue Origin. Um, Again, I don't think they're getting rich or anything, but I think they have like a sustainable, like they're able to keep going year after year. They pay their employees, they pay their bills, and they have a business. Um, but for all the other companies that dropped out or switched to THCA, it's because they were missing. They didn't have one of those factors. Either they weren't wholesome enough, their prices weren't good enough, um, or their quality wasn't good enough. Because if you have any three of those and you put yourself out there just enough, you should be able to stay afloat. But there's some people that were missing some of them factors. Sareba said Pilot Farms. Pilot Farms, this was their first year that they went into retail with their CBD flower. Um, I know Pilot Farms has been popular, but they are not getting the type of market share that somebody like Lost Oak Farms or Horn Creek has. Pilot Farms is still an underdog as far as that. Now, Pilot Farms did really well this year. Um, and I honestly, a big part of that was because they had me out on their farm. I made a documentary about their stuff, and people really loved again that wholesomeness and this kind of down to earthness. People saw that when they watched my video about Pilot Farm, and they're like, dude, these dudes are cool as fuck. Like these are literally like some hippie dudes on top of a mountain growing weed, like people did back in the 60s and 70s. Like they're right there near the Emerald Triangle. There's Bigfoot sightings, there's mountain lions everywhere. There's like people really I like it. I won't lie to you. If I was not me and I was just some random person and I saw my video about Pilot, I would absolutely go buy Pilot. I don't need to, I don't want, as soon as I see the owner and the workers and they're walking around the mountains talking about Bigfoot, and it's like white dudes on shrooms with dreadlocks and shit, and they're making smoothies in the kitchen with organic fruit they picked out of their backyard and shit. I'm ordering. All right. I don't need to hear nothing else. I'm ordering. And so Pilot did really good for their first year with basically no other marketing other than me. But I'm not trying to talk good on myself. I'm just saying Pilot has a vibe that once people got access to that, it sold itself. I Quarantine said they're a vibe. I love it. Trust me, y'all. Going there, meeting up with the owner, and actually the owner's brother who's in the video, he actually lives like 10 minutes from me. So I've actually met up with him here in LA since going to Oregon and making that video. Actually, the flower, when I made my Pilot Farm review on their flower, Dole from Pilot Farm, the owner, his little brother, or big, I don't know, I assume it's his little brother, he came to my house and handed me that flower in person when it was dried and cured. So Pilot is, yeah, Pilot's a vibe. I have absolutely nothing negative. I look, their prices are good, their vibe is good, their flower is good. I have no criticisms of Pilot. I think Pilot is doing it. They're doing it. All right. They are doing it. For cannabis, they're doing it. I love your pro Pali Saab. I love your whatever that is. Your pro, what is that? Your emblem. Yeah, Fern and Rogue are cool. Like I said, they're not getting the market share that like Lost Oak or Horn Creek or Tweedle are getting, but no, yeah, I know what it is. That's what I'm saying. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Holy City. I think I think Holy City kind of had a year of kind of, I don't want to say I don't know. There was a few months, like up until a few months. I say 2024. I saw a lot of complaints about Holy City, and I didn't try that. Like y'all could go. The last time I tried Holy City was the last time I posted a video on Holy City, and I never had a bad experience with Holy City. Right, just like any other place. Did I love some strains and not care as much for others? Of course, but they had some strains that I love. But I think the last half of 2024, they were having some cure issues or whatever. A lot of people were saying like this flower I got from Holy City is dry or it has no smell. And I think this year they kind of have fixed those issues. And I see Holy City picking back up. I'm not seeing no more criticisms or negative reviews. And so I'm gonna have I'll be doing a Holy City review soon, and we'll see if Holy City's back. Just y'all don't see a lot of what goes on behind the scenes. And because of who I am in the position that I put myself in, I talk to a lot of these vendors and I talk to the owners of a lot of these companies, and so I do see what goes on behind the scenes and everything, and just the vibes have been off. The vibes have been off. That's what I'm saying. Like people like Pilot is in their own Pilot's in their own lane, and they're just cruising. All right, they're waking up every day and eating a couple mushrooms and drinking a organic smoothie and doing some yoga, and they're not bothered by any of this bullshit or toxicity in the industry. And a lot of the other companies and farmers and everything have just been, the vibe has been off. They've been involved in like infighting and negativity, and I'm just really trying to get the vibe back on with everybody. Like let's get the party going again. I think the party kind of died down, and I want to get the party going again. All right, I really do, and it's unfortunate because we just suffered a loss. All right, like I said, the Hemp Head server, that wasn't my server, but like I said, anytime you're losing a large amount of information about CBD flower, it's a negative for the community. All right, it's a loss. It's a loss. So I want the vibe to be back with everybody. Wade said, "Have you ever smelled gunpowder terps and hemp?" Yeah, I have. Gunpowder terps, and that's actually not terpenes and at all. And here I go with my nerd. Let me buck teeth and push my glasses up. All right, here, little small little science lesson, right? Um, if you smell anything gunpowdery in cannabis, that's not terpenes. Anything that's gassy, anything that's sulfury, anything that's savory, diesely, or skunky, that's not terpenes at all. Those are called volatile sulfur compounds. And they are literally what they are. They're sulfurous compounds. All right. And these compounds exist in other things, such as diesel fuel and petroleum, skunk spray, like literal, like skunks. The spray that skunks produce out of their glands has some of the same odor compounds that skunky weed has. So, anyways, but yeah, I have smelled gunpowder and hemp. It goes hand in hand with the dog shit terps, which again is not terps, but the white dog shit terps. All right. That's kind of one of my little trademark funny things. The white dog shit. Um, if any of y'all had Abacus Diesel back in the day, you know about the white dog shit. It sounds like shit, but it's a good thing. And yes, the gunpowder, the white dog shit is a form of it is a branch and a variation of those gassy VSCs. So Wade, I'm super anxious to try all that stuff you got. You've been talking about gunpowder and all this. I know whatever you're talking about, the gunpowder, I'm sure it's gonna have the white dog shit, and that's gonna be fire. All right. That's that old school classic dirty diesel smell. Alexander said, do you think the companies are doing everything they can to attract customers? Do you think there's really just not a big market anymore? Um, like I said, the vibe has been off with a lot of companies. The morale has been low. I think that's the best way to put it. A lot of companies, the morale has been low. So I don't think that they have been doing everything they can to attract customers. I think that a lot of companies have been very complacent and just kind of cruising because their morale is low. And so they're not motivated to put themselves out there. And there's also not a big market anymore. It's a combination of both of those things. I think morale is a perfect word, right? Better than vibe. We need to get the morale up. All right. We need to get the morale up. And if there's any vendors that are watching me right now, get the morale up, put some specials out. Let's get the giveaways going on your Instagram pages, get your social media up, start thinking about some more competitive strains. Let's try to find some better tasting stuff. Like come on, let's step it up. Like I think that there's a lot of love and there's money to go around in the hemp world. It's just we have to work a little bit harder at getting it. I bought from Top Cola a while back. Top Cola, I tried Top Cola way back when they had CBD flower. I think it was like 2022 was the last 2022, 2023 when they were still growing CBD flower. Um, and then after that, they switched to THC. I think all they have now is THCA. Terp Supreme said, from your perspective, are ongoing regulatory challenges the primary driver of low morale? In some cases, perhaps, but I think the biggest driver of low morale is just the slowing down of sales. Honestly, because most if we think about the top 10 most successful hemp companies that are still going right now, I think most of them are in a good position, like legally. Like there's not anything really tumultuous is going down. I know in Oregon there might be some shit going down in Oregon if Oregon is doing a whole switch from how they regulate the hemp industry. And Oregon is switching the regulation of hemp from whatever it is now to the commission that regulates liquor and tobacco, alcohol and tobacco in the state. And that commission is way more strict. Like they want everything to be exactly 0.3 total THC or less. and like they come with the flamethrowers and shit, World War II style, and just burn your shit down. You know, they come out with the Gestapo outfits and they test the crops. And if your sour space candy is 0.31% total THC, they're coming out with the bulldozers and the flamethrowers. All right. So I think people in Oregon are a little bit on edge. They're concerned about that, but I don't think that that's the biggest driver of the low morale, though, overall. I'm wondering how much of this is a funding issue as well. Predatory MCA loans are huge nowadays, put a lot of people. I do think that we have lost at least one major hemp company due to loan issues. It's just a theory, though. I have absolutely no evidence to back that up. It's just a theory. Channel Stupendous. I don't know who you are, but you said I don't usually catch your live stuff. I'm glad you're here. You missed a lot of the emotional the good stuff. Now we're kind of just talking about hemp in general, but I'm glad you made it. Terp Supreme, are they just regulating the smokable? No, I think when it comes to like Oregon, for example, it's industrial hemp across the board, because what's going on is you have people that are trying to like grow THCA and stuff and pass it off as hemp. So I think they're kind of encompassing everything in one. Your hemp has to be 0.3 or under. And that's why the push to make like the farm bill or federally or whatever a total THC limit of 1%, like that's a big thing. If we had a hard cap on total THC at 1%, that would allow all of the current strains that we have and that are being developed to be grown, and nobody has to worry about their crops getting burnt down. Um, it would just make everything super clear and orderly. Now, that would also destroy the THCA world, which, would not be good for some people, but trying to regulate and limit total THCA to 0.3%, not just D9, but total THCA to 0.3% is not the move. That's not cool. Alexander said, if you know anyone that needs funding, hit me up. I'm in a finance internship. We can see if we can help. Okay, that's cool. Pally Sob says, great. Type 2s dialed in are the way once finally legal across the board. Yeah, and that's one thing, right, that I've said. Type 2 flower is the most attractive thing to people that are not already having a relationship with Canada. I don't know any other way to say that, right? If you were to take a bunch of random people off the street, soccer moms, teachers, bus drivers, whatever, okay, just regular middle America, people that have no prior experience to cannabis, and you sit them down and you give them type 1, type 2, and type 3, the majority of people are going to gravitate towards type 2 flower. And I honestly think that type 2 flower is where it's at. Obviously, us THC sensitive people, we still can enjoy type 2. But for the average person, type 2 is going to be the best thing for them. All right. And if weed or cannabis is ever legalized across the board, and it was able to be marketed and everything like alcohol and all that, and it's accessible, type 2 would see a humongous like part of the market. And this is another thing too. All right, let me put this very clear and very public. I'm reading something right now, and this is going back to the hemp heads deletion issue. As far as I am concerned, and that I know of, um, there was no conspiracy that I was involved in to get that hemp head server deleted. All right. For anybody that's thinking that, for anybody that has said that, um, I could hate the place, and like I said, I would never support any action like that because it's happened to the hemp flower servers twice. Most most of the hemp farms are on their second or third Instagram account. I would never support the enabling of any sort of overreaching social media company to delete any account or server. All right. I want to make that abundantly clear. Now, was there some kind of mass reporting? There could have been. I'm not going to say that that didn't contribute to things because I know for a fact that when the hemp flower servers were on the verge of getting deleted, there was a lot of reports coming in. But there was nothing on the hemp um, Discord server. There was no, like, nobody was sitting there conspiring, like, hey, everybody go over and report hemp head server. No. And historically, it's always been people from Reddit that come and do the reporting. Honestly, Reddit is the most negative and toxic place. It's ridiculous. But no matter who it is or what server it is, this is what I'm saying, dude. It shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue. And the fact that it is an issue is gross. It's gross. It's gross. It's gross that there are people that have issues with. There's people that have issues with me. There's people that have issues with Lost Oak Farms. There's people that have issues with every single vendor, every single group of people. There's there's a large group of CBD people who hate THCA people and go and report all the THCA subreddits all the time. There are people from the THCA world who hate CBD people and report all the CBD stuff. I know what happens. And it's gross, it's stupid, and if you're watching this and you've been a part of that, stop. All right, stop. The issues with hemp flower channels is probably more broad than someone disliking a particular server. Like I said, the fact that the deletion of hemp heads is kind of like it's it's just a confirmation. It's just a confirmation that you're not safe on Discord. We already know you're not safe on Reddit, but you're not. We now know for a fact that nobody is safe on Discord. If you weren't there, Hemp Heads did everything by the book. They had all of their security settings good. They were super strict on what they allowed. They didn't even, like I said, they didn't even allow like vulgar jokes or anything, right? Like it was super PC, super PG, super friendly. It was not promoting any sort of sales. They had several vendors in their active, and none of the vendors were posting any promotions or anything, and it got deleted. which goes to show that when it comes to hemp or CBD, it- and here's an interesting point, right? If you go on Amazon, you can buy hemp products. Like you could buy things made of hemp, you can buy hemp seed oil. There's lots of hempy things, but once CBD is introduced into it, Amazon doesn't allow it. And so I have a theory that maybe that is an issue with Discord. Maybe if a Discord admin came on and saw that we're all talking about what's the best way to make rope out of hemp or promoting a hempcrete company or hemp clothing, they might not give a damn. But I think because there is CBD and other cannabinoids involved, to them, just like with Amazon, it's no longer hemp. It might as well be regular weed. So that might be part of the issue too. Yeah. Hemp head or Terp Supreme said hemp heads wasn't my kick, but as vanilla as it was, I'm surprised they canned it. That's my whole point. That's been my whole point all day and all night. If hemp heads got deleted by Discord, nothing is safe. That was like the litmus test. Nothing is safe. All right. So if tomorrow the hemp server is gone, don't be surprised. If, there's something about CBD, there's just something about it that that Discord don't like. Joshua said, I read that Discord is changing hands or has changed hands. Possibly. I don't know. It would be so dope if Discord, switched or did something different and changed their policies, and like that would be great, but I'm sure that's not happening. Cosmic said certain companies online have great selection of type 2 seeds if you're able to grow. No, yeah, that's the thing, right? There are so many type 2 seeds online. Like just off the top of my head, I could go to several websites right now and there's a huge library of type 2 seeds, especially in Europe. Europe has been breeding type 2 for years, way longer than it's been worked on. Like people have only been doing type 2 here in the US consistently since the Farm Bill passed. Europe has been doing type 2 genetics probably for at least the last 20 years. So there's a lot of seed banks and places online where you can get type 2 seeds. So yeah, if you like type 2 and you can grow your own, you're in luck when it comes to that. All right. There's a lot of type 2 genetics online. But yeah, y'all, I really there's just been a lot going on, a lot of negativity, a lot of toxicity, things getting deleted, banned, and I really wanted to kind of come on and talk about it and put it out there publicly. Um you know, it's a big issue, and I want everybody to I want everybody to we got to work together. We really got to work together as a community to keep things alive. I really mean that. I really mean that. We got to work together to keep things alive. You know what, and I'm sure there's somebody going and reporting the hemp server right now. I'm sure a handful of people reported today. especially since there's this really and I'll be candid. All right, I'll be candid. The idea that there's a conspiracy in the hemp Discord server to go and get hemp heads banned, that's stupid. That's stupid. Anybody who's sharing that around or perpetuating that idea, feeding into it, you're doing a disservice to yourself and the community. Now, again, individuals or people in their own groups or DMs could do anything. I know that there are individuals in groups and DMs and stuff that conspired to get past servers taken down. So I'm not saying that that didn't happen at all. I'm just saying that that wasn't something that either A, I was a part of, or B, happened openly in the hemp server and was encouraged or put together, organized or anything like that. That's insanity. Um it's hard. People got to. There was a lot. Look, as y'all know, in the disc in Reddit, there's a lot of people. There's disgruntled people on Reddit. All right, there's pissed off people on Reddit who go and report everything. Like I said, there's people that are pissed off that THCA exists and they report everything on Cult of the Franklin, anything having to do with THCA. There's THCA people that think that us CBD people are fucking losers and they go report everything. There has in the hemp flowers Discord servers, there's always been a group of people who are pissed off at things that were said there or the way that it's ran, or they think that it was too unserious and they go and report that. I know for a fact that there were lots of people that were pissed off at the Hemp Head server. There was a large group of people that thought that it was opportunistic. There was a large group of people who still joined it and they didn't appreciate the censorship. They thought that it was too controlling, it was too censored, and they were pissed off about that and they didn't like it. And a lot of those people probably could have reported it or who knows, but all I'm saying is that there was not some sort of mass report that was organized and put together to get the hemp head server taken down. Um, I actually petitioned to become a mod of the hemp head server. Um, I'll just put that out there. I thought that with the obvious experience, like I said, I created the very first hemp Discord server that there was, hemp CBD, hemp flower Discord server. I told you, y'all could go back to the beginning of the live and hear that whole story with the original mod from Reddit. I created that original hemp server. I have ran with the help of some mods, but I have ran, the hemp servers for the last, 4 or 5 years. And so I tried to become a mod of the hemp head server. And as far as I know, it was being considered, where obviously that didn't happen because the hemp head server is now down. But um had I had an opportunity to lead that server or have put my input into that or whatever, I would have tried to make it a little bit more inclusive to some folks, but it's gone now. So all I can do now is make the hemp server as best as it can be while it survives, and that might be 2 days, that might be 2 weeks, that might be 2 months, that might be 2 hours. Obviously, again, to summarize everything, Discord does not like hemp CBD flower, and we already know Instagram doesn't like it. We already know Reddit doesn't like it. And so, in light of that, um, we all need to do what we can to not contribute to any sort of downfall of the hemp world. All right. That is the overreaching message right here. Um, yeah, I'll leave it at that. Damn, it's already 10 o'clock. For everybody who's still on here, I appreciate y'all for watching. I know that you could be doing a million things in life right now, and you're choosing to sit and watch my live. I appreciate that. I appreciate all of my patrons over on Patreon. Again, y'all are keeping, like I say that in all my videos, y'all are keeping my channel going and growing. If it were not for the money that I get from Patreon, I wouldn't be able to purchase any flour to review. That's literally my budget for purchasing stuff to review. Without that, you would maybe get the occasional video from A, somebody sends me a free sample, and B, I have time, I could justify time to sit and record a video. I lose money on my channel, okay? I lose money creating content. The amount of time it takes for me to make videos, edit them, post them, engage and everything, the small amount that I get back from Patreon, the couple little things I have an affiliate. A lot of people think that all my coupon codes I push are affiliate codes. They're not. Only a small number of them are. And like I said, sales are down. Sales are down in the hemp world. Okay, so that's not bringing in much. All right, and the merch, which brings in like $100 every 3 or 4 months. I don't really push the merch because it's the fulfillment and everything. It's really expensive. So, anyways, point being, I don't profit or make a living off of creating content at all. This is purely a passion project. All right, it's purely a passion project, and I find it harder and harder to do to justify spending the time doing it these days. Um, um, the cost of living is going up, and it's getting very difficult to justify the time I put into the channel. Anyways, going back to that, so I when I say on my videos, I want to give a shout out to my patrons because they keep the channel going and growing. My channel is not monetized. All right, my channel is not monetized, and so my Patreon is literally my only budget for purchasing things for the channel, whether that be flour, whether that be buying a new memory card, um, whatever it may be. If I need a new tripod, I buy little cheap ring lights on Amazon. Those break every few months. So if I need a new ring light or something, without the Patreon money, I wouldn't have money to do that. So really appreciate that. I had said like a month ago that I was gonna make a video of me smoking lifter and put that on Patreon, and I'm gonna be doing that soon. All right. Like I said, I've been short on time, been trying to work and pay bills. All right. I have 4 kids and I live in California, Los Angeles. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's very expensive. So I appreciate all the supporters and everything. Yeah, Hemp Heads was not a place for opinion, and a lot of people had a problem with that. I didn't appreciate that opinions weren't appreciated, but like you said, that wasn't the purpose. The purpose was more of it was a drum circle. But again, Discord didn't care if it was a hippie drum circle. They still deleted it. Channel Stupendous said, I love you, man. You really think the hemp world is in danger of dying? It's slowing down. All right. That's why we got to get morale up. I didn't do a what's fire right now part of the stream. I haven't talked about flower really at all, like specific strains or recommendations. Haven't done that. I'm about to get off. What am I smoking right now? That's in stock. Obviously, you have your outdoor, you got your Lost Oak Farms, you got your Pilot. I've been smoking the last couple days. I've been smoking Orange Fritter from Fern Valley. That's actually a sleep, like nobody talks about that. That's actually kind of decent. It's a straight purple, like citrusy, a straight purple citrusy hybrid. Gulf Coast Organics has some nice indoor. Their lemon cookie dough half baked and their sour tsunami is some of the best shit that I have right now. Is really, really good. I have link a coupon code in I put in the live description. I have my landing page. I linked it. I usually don't, but I started doing that. So if you go to the description for the live, I have my landing page. And if you can't find that, it's in my IG bio and it's in the description of every video. So just go to my most recent video. I have links and coupon codes for Gulf Coast, for Lost Oak, Pilot. Andaway is about to drop some new shit soon. I'm looking forward to that. That sounds like um it's gonna be nice. Um Beliefer, I know Beliefer has dropped some fire. I haven't tried Beliefer in a while. We're gonna get some Beliefer soon, I think. Hopefully. Hopefully I can make that happen. Like I said, I'm gonna be doing a video on a new strain from Holy City. We'll see what that's looking like. Um, Again, morale is low. There's not a lot of good flower right now. It's kind of a sign of the times. There's not Usually I could go through a list of this is fire. Oh, you want an indica, get this. You want a sativa, get this. You want a hybrid, get this. You want some CBG, get this. We're not at that. I mean, I'm struggling to come up with 4 or 5 strains to recommend right now. You know what I mean? So, dude, you're like the face of the hemp side of life. I, I appreciate that. I think what I'm trying to be is the face of THC sensitive people that want to enjoy cannabis. That's I'm trying to be the spokesperson for that. Yeah, we didn't get hit by the tsunami at all. It kind of I don't know, it would have been kind of cool if we got some kind of action, but all I can be grateful here is that the weather here has been so incredibly nice by the average standards. I miss thunderstorms and snow like in the Midwest and everything. We don't have no thunderstorms. It hasn't rained here in months, but I know that everywhere that it does rain and have thunderstorms, it's also been like 100 degrees for the past weeks. And it hasn't gotten above 80 here in the last like 2 months. I think the hottest it's gotten here has been like 83 degrees for a couple days, like a month or two ago. So the weather here has been fire, and I appreciate that because I hate heat. Now it doesn't get cold enough, but I think I would rather deal with a mild summer and a mild winter rather than have an extremely hot summer and a really cold winter. I do miss the snow though, and I do miss thunderstorms. That's really my jam. I love extreme weather, but I don't like extreme heat. Um, Channel stupendous. I think you mentioned some about dispensaries having type 3. If you're on Instagram or if you're on Discord, I'd love for you to send me some screenshots of like some menus of dispensaries up there with the type 3 that they have. I love to see what they got. So if you could show me screenshots of like weed maps or whatever, like their menus or they got CBD, I'd love to see what they got and from who. I'll answer the last few questions. Am I involved with Kratom at all? I have a couple bags of Kratom right here on my desk. They've been sitting there for a few years. I've experimented heavily with Kratom. I don't react that well to it. It's not horrible, but it gets me really jittery. Kratom gets me really jittery and it gets me really flushed and hot. So I don't do kratom. I'm not a kratom type of dude. I think it's great for people, a lot of people, and I encourage and support it fully. But I get really jittery. Yeah, I'm in LA. I didn't try Neverwinter's most recent batch. I was waiting to hear back from Neverwinter, like more information about it. And by the time I got any sort of answer, he told me it had sold out already. So I don't know what happened with that. I think he said that one of his strains tested hot and they made him harvest early or something. And so he just put it up for sale. I don't know. That was kind of a letdown. That was really a letdown because a lot of people were super, super, super hyped for that new Neverwinter after their last batch a couple months ago. So I'm disappointed that that ended up being such a limited release and that I didn't get to try it because I was really looking forward to that. Saint Heretic said, "Bro, I'm from the Midwest originally too. I feel you. I miss thunderstorms so bad." Yeah. Um. So I lived in Illinois for 10 years. I used to walk to school when it was like -10 degrees in the morning. Everything's frozen. You got to get up in the morning. Now, that's one thing I don't miss. One thing I do not miss is shoveling the driveway and scraping ice off like my mom's car in the morning. That was not the business. That is not fun. But everything else about winter, though, I love it. I love the winter. I love the cold. I love like y'all don't understand growing up in the Midwest, like in the early 2000s, like rolling around listening to like Lil Wayne mixtapes. And there's just huge snowbanks on the side of the road, and you got on a big old puffy jacket with a double XL t-shirt and some ginormous South Pole jeans and Air Force Ones and a fitted cap with a fake chain on and an earring about the size of a saltine cracker. There's nothing like it. All right. There was nothing like that. And then in the summertime, in the spring, you get these crazy thunderstorms and just this weather that's just like the weather is amazing. Like it's an event. And I do go back out. I still, my immediate family still lives in Illinois, and so I didn't go out there this year, but I try to go out there every year during the summer, and I stay out there for a couple weeks. And the highlight of the trips is the thunderstorms. And when you know a storm is coming, go out and get food. Yeah, yeah. When it's been hot, the storms are coming when it's been really humid. Because that's how if y'all are into meteorology or anything, that's how storms work. Um, Cold fronts come down and encounter heat. And when it's humid, that moisture that's in the air builds up into these large supercells. And those large supercells are those huge storm fronts that produce tornadoes and everything. And so, yeah, and that's another thing too, right? Here in California, when it's hot, it's sunny and hot. So it could be like just 80 degrees, but the sun is pelting you. So it's 80 degrees, but you have like this sun factor that makes it feel like you're dying, right? Whereas, like in the Midwest, when it gets really, really hot, it's usually overcast for whatever reason. It's usually like an overcast day or there's clouds covering the sun. And so it'll be 100 degrees and humid as hell, but you're not getting destroyed by the sun. I'll take that any day. I'll take 100 degrees humidity with no direct sunshine over 80 degrees in direct sunshine. I No, thank you. I can't stand when it's hot out here because it's just the sun is just murdering you. And then yeah, when it's like that, it'll be 100 degrees for like 2 or 3 days. It'll be super, super humid, super humid. You're just walking around, your clothes are sticking to, you walk down a Dollar General or some shit, and just your t-shirts, just it's like a wet t-shirt contest for everybody. All you wanted was some Dairy Queen. All you wanted was a Culver's burger. And it's a wet t-shirt contest. But what that means though is that cold air is going to come down from Canada and it's going to suck up that moisture, and you're going to watch it happen, right? You're going to watch these clouds, and you're going to go and you're going to get your finest bud and you're going to sit out on the porch, right? You're going to go get some food, and it's just an event, and it's just crazy thunderstorms. Here, y'all, check out my home screen on my phone, my lock screen. Let me let it focus. This is my lock screen on my phone. This is a video I took last summer. Oh, my reflection from my computer is killing it. But you see that lightning storm? That is a crazy storm that was when I went to Illinois last summer. Crazy, 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 like some end of the world type shit. And if you're into weather and you like it, man, there is nothing like it, dude. There's nothing like it. And then yeah, those storms come through and they suck up all of that humidity and all of the heat. And then once that storm passes, it's like 70 degrees. It'll be 100 degrees. It'll be 100 degrees at 2 o'clock. A storm will come through. Everything goes dark. Branches blowing off trees. You got tornado sirens going off. Lightning everywhere. Just y'all know like in Forrest Gump when Lieutenant Dan is on top of the shrimp boat and he's like, "You call this a storm?" It's like that, right? It'll be 100 degrees at 2 o'clock. At 5 o'clock is Lieutenant Dan, and then by 7:30 it's 70 degrees. The storm comes through and wipes everything clean. It's just, man, it's amazing. Yeah, I heard Texas. You know what? I love the vibe in Texas. I love the price of living in Texas. I love the Houston music scene. Zero is one of my favorite rappers. R.I.P. DJ Screw. But I already know I could not deal with that heat in Texas, though. I know that heat is just unbearable. I know in Texas, it's like the worst. It's like everything horrible about LA heat or California heat or just Southwest heat in general. I don't want to say, but like you take Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, just dry, sunny heat. And then you mix in the humidity and extreme heat of the Midwest, and that's Texas. And it's just never ending torture. Yeah, I've heard about Texas, man. I heard about Texas, and I know that is not fun. I think I could live in Texas probably like October through April, and then I got to be gone. Man, it was real nice talking to y'all. I'm glad I got to get some serious in, and then we got to sit here and chit chat for a while. I didn't smoke nothing during this whole live. Well, the main thing is I'm starving, and I know if I smoked, I would have sat here and just been suffering. I am really, really hungry. I think I've eaten 2 frozen burritos today and a glass of green tea. So I really need to go eat something. I have some work that I need to do. Hopefully, I'll record. I think just the next video up I'm gonna drop is just the Daily High Club and the weed box. And I know a lot of people don't care for those. Even though the weed box, though, y'all, if y'all like THCA, or you're trying to buy a gift for somebody or something, that weed box it is pretty dope. because you get a gram of weed, you get a pre-roll of weed, you get some weed stock, lighter, you get like some papers or some wraps, and then you get a bong with it too. So I actually fuck with the weed box, but I might record those videos tonight. And then my next CBD video, like I said, I'll be doing a video on Holy City soon. But anyways, y'all, we've been here for 2 hours. I meant for this to be a 45-minute to an hour live just to address some current issues. We went way past that. So I appreciate all y'all who have been watching. Like I said, thank you to everybody who's on my Patreon. Make sure y'all go follow my Instagram. And yeah, have a good night. All right. All y'all who have been active in the chat and everything, I want to see you active. I want to see you active on Discord. I want to see you active on Instagram if you got it. I want to hear from y'all more. All right. I'm gonna sign off. Again, I hope that y'all have a really good night. All right. Have a really good night. I hope everybody's healthy. I hope everybody is doing well. Okay. With that said, though, adios. All right. Appreciate everybody being here and have a good night.